Morning everybody, I'm recording this on the day that I'm actually putting this up on the YouTube. One of the reasons why I'm doing this today, I've forgotten to say welcome everybody to Lena Unedited. I'm your host, Lena Robinson. Hello. Sorry, I'm in a bit of a muddle today. It's interesting, the reason why I'm doing today's topic, which is about play and playfulness and the impact it has on imagination and creativity and so forth. And the reason for doing that is my original idea was to talk about creativity. I had a bit of a block, and I've kind of been thinking about, like, why did I have the block? Why could I not come up with a topic? Why was I wanting to talk about creativity but just couldn't get the thoughts or ideas sorted? And it hit me this morning when I woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning, not being able to get back to sleep, was that I think the answer is playfulness and the impact that being able to just let our minds go free and have time to be able to have space in our minds to be creative was something that I wasn't doing at the moment or this week as much as I would like to. So today's conversation is all going to be about adults and being able to let our minds free enough to play. And what does play mean? Well, obviously it means different things to different people, but I'm going to kind of go back to my childhood actually, and the impact of living in a rural environment in New Zealand. Sorry, I'm squinting everybody. It's really bright today, which is lovely. Growing up in the countryside in Waimate, in South Canterbury in New Zealand, and we grew up on 2.5 acres. We had lots of animals. We had the ability to make things and create things and build little scenarios into stories. Like my brothers and I were often pretending to be Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn, and we would build rafts and we would put them out onto the little pond that our dad had built that we could swim in and had frogs and things in. We didn't have a TV a lot of the time, and I think at the time I kind of thought, we don't have a TV. But actually, in hindsight, I'm so glad, because that ability to go out, play, make, have an imagination, have that freedom to just let our imaginations run wild has actually been a massive, massive benefit to me. What's interesting is when I thought about doing this this topic today, I'd started doing a little bit of research on the impact of play on imagination and creativity in adults. Here's the interesting thing. I didn't type into Google the word adult. I just put impact of play on imagination and creativity. What the sad thing is that the only thing that came up was only to do with children. And don't get me wrong, I think we should be allowing our kids space to play, to create, to make, to build, to explore, to experiment even. And I think that's great. But here's the question. At which point do we stop playing as adults? And I was trying to think about that for myself, and it's a question I'd like to throw out to all of you. Like, at which point did we stop playing? And here's the interesting thing for me is that it then led to me to think about, and I will come back to this on why I think I stopped playing, is that when I think about the types of people that I often like to talk to and appeal to and have around in my life is nonconformists. And what is it about the nonconformists that I'm attracted to, whether it be friends, whether it be people that I admire or people that I've met, or even in romantic partners? Like, I like a playfulness in a romantic partner in the way that they, still find that joy in the silly things in life. I think that's an amazing thing. And when you look at nonconformists, there is a lot of the time they're experimenting, they're pushing boundaries, they're doing things differently. But is that coming from playfulness? Question mark. Don't know. Probably. I think a lot of the people that I have around me that I consider nonconformists, I think they probably are quite playful. I know that's where I get the joy from, and my friends, we just do silly things. Like, we're not afraid to do something silly. Like, I'm happy to be walking down the street and then all of a sudden break into song, or all of a sudden, not that I can sing very well, but or all of a sudden like do a little skip or a jump or a hippity hop, or just something a little bit odd, like I don't care, I couldn't care less what other people think of me, but so for me, I definitely know that in the last few years I've been re-tapping back into my play and playfulness and experimenting with things, doing things differently, and for sure my imagination has definitely kicked back in massively. I mean, I've always been an ideas person, and that has been of benefit to me, and I do think a lot of that's come from the childhood side of things. But I get back to the question I was asking, like at which point as adults do we stop playing or thinking that it's no longer appropriate? That's child's play. Like, where the heck did that come from? Ridiculousness, in my opinion. I think there's always room for play, and to let our imaginations go free and do something a little bit different. And I do think that schooling has a lot to answer for, in the way that most schooling and scholarly approaches. It's definitely less play, less experimentation, less imagination. Yet when we look in business today, we're expecting people to be innovative, to have diversity of thinking, to come up with new ideas, to do things differently, especially with the onslaught of AI. Like, the human needs to be coming up with something different, innovative, unusual, not thought of before. And play has a massive part in that, as a mindset as well as a doing of play, as it were. And I think, schooling does have a lot to answer for. So I think as adults, I really want to encourage everybody that's listening today to have a think about, like, what can you do if you want to be more innovative in your career, or you want to innovate in the category that your business is in, if you own a business. Then I would recommend that you think about, where are you having time to play? And it's an interesting question. Is it about having time to play, or is it about making time to play? You say, I don't have time to play. Well, here's the thing. I'm not sure your businesses out there and your careers and your lives can achieve their most potential if you're not making time to play. And I think that's a really important thing. So I think my challenge to you is to think about, like, what does play look like for you? What time can you carve out, even if it's 5 minutes, to do something completely silly, like, I don't know, have a dance in the park for 2 minutes, or when you're walking back from the bus stop that you might be coming back from, or the train station. Like, do you have time to sort of like have a little boogie in a park that you're walking past? Or like, even on my walk here, I was noticing things. I saw a sloe behind me. There's some lovely rose hips, and I've taken photos of those, and I know that my creativity and my imagination just isn't anything without that ability to stop and play and literally smell the roses for me. I mean, could it be something as simple as, when you're cooking dinner, do you want to try something a little bit different tonight and just have a play with cooking? Or do you want to, take 5 minutes and just doodle? We're often on trains and transport, rather than flicking through our phones the whole time. Can we take a little sketchbook with us and sketch some thoughts out, some ideas, or write some things down, write a piece of poetry? Or if you are on the phone and you don't have a sketchbook, do you want to write a little bit of poetry? Or what is that outlet that allows you to play, to have a little bit of silliness in your life? And I would not be surprised if you start using that as an activity that you do on a regular basis. I would be surprised if you don't start to see that your brain unlocks. I know for me, definitely this week, I tried to, in the last couple of days, I went for a bat walk with my dear friend Carolyn, who's also my lodger. Bat walk. We went looking for bats. It was amazing. It was so fun. I constantly go out and take photographs. For me, that's a bit of playfulness and silliness, and having jokes with my friends and all those kinds of things. So yeah, that's pretty much about me. It's about playfulness. Ask yourself what you're doing to play. Think about the impact that it has on innovation, on your creativity, and whether that be, and a lot of people say, oh, I'm not creative, I can't draw. It's not about being able to draw. It's about that creative mindset, the creative thinking, the imagination being let go, to be able to think up of new thoughts, get out of your own way, maybe stop the blockages that are happening in the inability to be able to figure out a solution to something. Critical thinking, massively impacted by, because I was reading something earlier about the impact of child creativity and play, and the impact that has on the ability to have critical thinking. In this day and age, we're seeing everywhere around the world, especially in places like America and so forth, and maybe sometimes in some of the younger generations, the question mark is going around, is critical thinking now happening as much as it should be? So yeah, today, have a think about what you want to do to go out and play, do something different. And if you do that, I'd really love to hear from you. I definitely want you all to help by liking and subscribing the channel. And if you can have a drop in the comment of, like, what does playfulness look like to you, and what are you going to do this weekend to get out and play? Anyway, have a lovely day. It's a beautiful sunny day here in London, in Spencer Park, which is where I am today. And yeah, have a good one, everybody. And playfulness is very much part of fuck the status quo. So get out there, fuck the status quo, do something different and have a play. See you later, everybody. Bye.